Their nominee is a convicted felon. He's facing hundreds of charges for criminal activity and has been proven to be a racist, a business fraud, liable for sexual abuse, an insurrectionist, and a man who lies with impunity. He is a machine gun of lies. Okay, so I'm not going to judge Joe Biden. His team, with the best of intentions, over-prepared him. He had like 5 different points to answer every issue, and they were getting jumbled. Maybe it was over-preparation. Maybe it was a cough. Whatever, a cold. Don't look at that debate. No, that is not helpful. There was a slow start, but it was a strong finish. And what became very clear through the course of the night is that Joe Biden is fighting on behalf of the American people.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and back to another video. So today we're going to talk about the debacle, of course, that was the debate last week between President Sleepy Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. But moreover, we're going to talk about how the liberal news media is absolutely losing their ever-loving minds, trying to make sense of what happened and trying to navigate through the mess that they created by continuously gaslighting America that Biden was perfectly fine. We're even hearing people in the administration say, oh, he just had a bad night. It was just a bad night.
First of all, I want to say we understand the concerns. We get it. The president did not have a great night, as you all know, and many of you reached out during the debate. The president had a cold. He had a hoarse voice. With age comes wisdom and comes experience. And I think that matters as well. Look, I've been in meetings with the president where it's been a diverse group of people, and he sees us and he knows the reason why we're sitting in front of him is that we have something to share.
He's been having a bad night for the past 5 years. It wasn't a bad night. He's not qualified. End of story. So let's go over some video clips that I came across online of liberals, some admitting that this is the problem, he needs to go, and others who, because of their Trump derangement syndrome, like the ladies of The View, cannot wrap their heads around the fact that Biden is going to lose in November if he still runs, and that pointing towards Donald Trump is not really going to work because it doesn't erase what we saw live on TV with Biden. Pointing to Trump is not going to fix what's in front of our face right now. So without further ado, let's watch some of these clips together, analyze and discuss.
Look, I think what we saw was that Biden lost that debate. I think that is an accurate depiction of what happened.
Duh.
Cold, blame it on his stuttering, blame it on over-preparation, whatever. But he did lose. Maybe he needs to go. Maybe he needs to be honest with himself. But what I will say this, I think it's really ironic.
Here it comes.
Party talking about needing to replace our nominee. I think it's
And there it is.
that the party that should be pressuring their candidate to step aside is the Republican Party. Their nominee is a convicted felon. He's facing hundreds of charges for criminal activity and has been proven to be a racist,
As she reads from her notes.
liable for sexual abuse, an insurrectionist, and as Biden said, he has the morals of an alley cat. Republicans need to be holding him accountable.
Blah, blah, blah.
Cowardly and feckless and complicit and enabling in allowing Trump's racism, bullying, his demagoguery, misogyny. Why are we, as Democrats, those of us that are Democrats, calling for our nominee to change?
Because your candidate cannot say 2 words. Because your candidate can't walk without having a nurse take him to the podium. Because your candidate is completely losing his ever-loving mind as we speak. Because your candidate has soup for brains. Because your candidate cannot do the job right now. That's why physically, mentally, verbally, he can't do it, Sonny. He can't do it. And you talking about Donald Trump and going on your tangent as you read from your notes. Funny, if I had these strong opinions and I knew exactly what I wanted to say, I wouldn't need to look at my notes to go down a list of things that my, producers laid out for me. I would just be able to speak off the cuff. But notice how in that entire segment, she's looking down at her notes, making sure she doesn't miss anything, because what she's saying is just typical Democrat talking points that she's being fed through her ears from the producers, as well as in front of her face. None of it is authentic. None of it is a real rebuttal to what we saw, because again, you can throw everything at the wall against Donald Trump. This isn't about him. It's about Biden. It's about him being unqualified because he has clear issues physically being able to do the job. Say what you want about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the same person that he was 20 years ago. Biden is unrecognizable just from 4 years ago. That's the difference. So you crying about Donald Trump being a racist and every other name in the book is not going to mean anything, because again, you're preaching to the choir, okay? You're preaching to your audience who's liberal in New York, who's going to clap for every stupid thing that you say because it's The View. But again, it doesn't change what's happening right now. It doesn't change what we saw. And what we're seeing from Sunny and many people like her who are on the left is them trying to distract us as much as possible by talking about Donald Trump. Yeah, I know Biden is losing his mind, and I know Biden can't walk, Biden can't talk, Biden can't do anything, but Trump. Okay, but Biden is still the problem. Trump is the same person that he was since day one. Biden is completely showing clear signs of what I feel is dementia. And you want us to focus on your hatred for Donald Trump. Like that's supposed to be a strong argument. It's not. It's laughable at this point. It's absolutely laughable. And I also laugh when people like her claim that he's a racist. He's a proven racist. Okay, prove it in your mind. Sure. Funny how he wasn't a racist for all the years prior to him becoming president, right? Prior to that, the liberal media loved him. NBC loved him by giving him The Apprentice. Rappers loved him. Pop culture loved him. It wasn't until he became a candidate and he beat Hillary Clinton that suddenly he's the world's greatest racist that ever lived. Funny how that works. Let's watch another clip of The View, this time from unhinged Ana Navarro.
There were photographs of Trump supporters, and one of them said, "You can grab me by the anytime, Donald."
Listen, I'm perfectly okay with Donald Trump grabbing her by the hoo-ha. I'm not okay with Donald Trump grabbing the United States of America.
Thank you.
By our president.
Yes.
What? Doesn't even make any sense. You're not okay with Donald Trump grabbing, you know what, America by the privates. Yeah, last I checked, that wasn't a part of his campaign motto. I'm going to grab you by the you-know-what. Haven't heard that. Again, it's the crazy left trying to go back now to something that happened years ago. Okay, we're talking about a quote that was years ago in private. Two guys acting stupid, saying stupid things to each other when the mics were off. A hot mic caught it. And this is what they have. So again, forget about what happened with Biden. Forget about the fact that his cognitive skills are declining by the minute. Forget about that.
Donald Trump once said over 20 years ago, grab them by the...
Okay, have we not dealt with this already? Have we not gone past this? Did he not become president despite that news story that came out? I.e., nobody cares. Nobody cares. Back on topic. But this is all that they have. This is all that Ana Navarro has. That's her claim to fame, that quote. And it's all that The View has. It's all that Democrats have. I can't really speak to why Joe Biden is so unqualified without seemingly admitting that he's not prepared. So let's just talk about Donald Trump, please. That strategy is not going to win. People don't care. People do not care, including people of color. Oops. And I also find it funny how they throw in Kamala Harris as if she's a real viable candidate.
And we have the Vice President of the United States who looked very strong last season. With Kamala, the Vice President, by his side, that gives me great comfort.
Kamala Harris right now, she is more unpopular than Biden. So please, by all means, Democrats, put Kamala in there. Please put her in. Last I heard, she was in these streets.
I know you've been traveling across the country. What are you hearing? Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. And let me...
Most political junkies are not even mentioning Kamala Harris. They're talking about Gavin Newsom. They're talking about Michelle Obama. They're talking about Gretchen from Michigan. They're talking about everybody else but Kamala Harris, the woman who literally is first in line if anything were to happen to the current president. And you would think the party of inclusion and identity politics would be rushing to the idea of having the first black female president. But the fact that her own party isn't even talking about her as a first pick and they're talking about everybody else just goes to show you how disorganized that party is and how much they don't like her. And by the way, in case you forgot, Kamala Harris was only picked as Joe Biden's VP because he made a promise to black Americans that if you vote for him during Super Tuesday, back in the primaries, that he would pick a black woman to be his VP. Didn't know who it would be yet, but I'll pick anybody. I'll find somebody and I'll pick her. So pretty much she's his diversity hire. She is. He didn't pick her because she was his first choice. He picked her because she happens to be the right skin tone. That's why. And by the way, the ultimate irony is the fact that she was the one during the primary debates back in 2019 who accused Biden of being a racist for being against busing back in the 60s. Remember that?
And I will say also that in this campaign, we've also heard, and I'm going to now direct this at Vice President Biden. It's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing.
I did not praise racist. That is not true.
Do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No.
I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education. There are moments in history where states fail to preserve the civil rights of all people.
And that was his pick. Yeah, this party is killing it right now, aren't they? Now let's watch some clips from our favorite station, the Clinton News Network, CNN.
But according to the New York Times, Biden's lapses are actually becoming more frequent, writing that in interviews, people in the room with him more recently said the lapses seem to be growing more frequent, more pronounced, and more worrisome.
Dementia.
The Times citing this example from June 18th, Joe Biden, during an immigration event, struggled to name his Homeland Security Secretary.
Oh my God.
Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce you all the way. But all kidding aside, Secretary Mayorkas.
Say what?
According to the Times, some allies were, quote, shaken up by that stumble from the president. All this
That was a mumble, literally.
But apparently the president apologized to everyone in the room, saying this is not an excuse, but it is an explanation. And he blamed the extensive foreign travel that he did in the lead up to the CNN debate for his poor performance. Just a reminder for everyone, he did go to France for the D-Day anniversary, and then he turned right back around and went to Italy for the G7 summit. And he told the room, I didn't listen to my staff. So the suggestion there being his staff did not think this was a good idea. And then he apparently said, I almost fell asleep on stage. I just want to unpack this new explanation for us. I find it a little bit puzzling, and frankly, I'm not sure that a lot of people are going to find this reassuring. If anything, some folks might hear this and be even more concerned. Yes, there were 2 foreign trips in the lead up to the June 27th CNN debate, but he returned from Italy on June 15th. The debate, again, was on June 27th. So we're talking about roughly 12 days in between when he was back in the States. And remember, a part of those 12 days, about a full week, he actually spent with his advisors at Camp David for the sole purpose of really focusing on debate prep. So why is the president falling asleep on the debate stage at the hours of 9 p.m. to 10:30? Up until now, including the night of the debate, the campaign was saying he is sounding like this because he is suffering from a cold. So again, we now have a new explanation from the president himself. He is blaming the foreign travel before the debate.
If you're going to blame the trip to Europe as an excuse as to why you were mumbling, as to why you couldn't remember anything, as to why your cognitive skills were so bad that night, if you're going to blame it on, I took a trip to Europe and I shouldn't have done that, the problem is, like she stated, that trip was over 12 to 13 days prior to the debate. So you're telling me that a trip that you took almost 2 weeks ago took you out so bad that you couldn't perform 2 weeks later at a debate. I could understand if he went on this trip maybe 3 days prior to the debate and he just got back to the States. But we're talking about almost 2 weeks. Almost 2 weeks, and you're sitting here telling us that it's going to take you longer than 2 weeks to regenerate and to get your energy back up to lead the country to do a debate, to do anything pretty much, is going to take you more than 2 weeks. So what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month? You have people like Kamala Harris saying it was just a bad night. It was just a bad night. She even had the nerve to say that, yeah, he had a slow start, but he had a strong finish. Really? Did you not hear his closing speech? He could hardly even finish the words that were coming out of his mouth.
We've made significant progress from the debacle that was left by President Trump in his last term. What I did, when, for example, he wants to get rid of, well, guess what? We got it down to $35. I'm going to make that available to every senior all along. It's happening now. I'm going to make sure that we have child care. We're going to significantly increase the credit people have for child care.
I had secondhand embarrassment as if I was there with him. And you're trying to tell me that was a strong finish? Like, wow. The gaslighting is like on 10 right now. Let's watch more clips.
In talking to staff members, others who've been dealing with the president, it's clear that there has been an increasing frequency of these moments where he is either frozen or lost the thread of his conversation. And that's made a lot of people worry and make them wonder that whether or not it was more than just the travel.
You know, speaking of that, I actually saw a video after the debate where Joe Biden, she's another one. I feel like she's completely complicit in this because as his wife, how could you sit by and watch your spouse, who clearly is not in a great mental space, being pushed to the forefront when you know he is not capable of performing, when you know that this is going to have a negative effect on his body, on his mind, and you're still standing there pushing him forward. Keep going, baby, keep going. For what? But speaking of her, she was doing a, I guess, rally right after the horrible debate performance. And she's talking, and as she's speaking, the camera pans over to Biden. And speaking of Frozen, watch this clip.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. You lied!
I mean, it's just, wow. He literally is looking at her, and it's almost as if he's trying to figure out where he's at. He's like, who's speaking? Who is that? Where am I? Who am I? Like, I mean, it's so sad. It really is sad. Regardless of how you feel about Joe Biden, it's just sad to see an elderly person who clearly is not equipped to do the job being told by the people around him, including his own wife, that he's perfectly fine. Keep going. Keep pushing. Keep trucking along, even though you know he cannot do what he was able to do 8 years ago. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this situation. Do you think Joe Biden is completely past his prime? And do you think it's cruel and unusual punishment to continue to push him to be president when clearly he is not equipped to do the job? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoy my content, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit my notification bell so you know when I post a brand new video. And this video will probably be up by the 4th of July, so happy Independence Day, my fellow Americans. Until next time, peace.